Welcome back to Ask an Astronaut, the only show where you can ask an astronaut anything you want. I'm your host, Astronaut Tom.
Tom, you should take your helmet off.
Oh, this is not working. Sorry. Welcome back to Ask an Astronaut, the only show where you can ask an astronaut whatever you want. I'm your host, Astronaut Tom. Let's dive into your questions, shall we? Our first question comes from Alberto in Ralston, Nebraska. Dear Astronaut Tom, how will we manage space junk in the future? That's a great question. What is space junk? Well, it's pretty self-explanatory. Space junk is anything that humans leave in outer space. Anytime we go into orbit, we leave some stuff behind, whether that's spent rocket shell casings, dead satellites, old jokes about Jersey Shore. Over 29,000 pieces of space junk, baseball-sized or larger, orbit the Earth. Plus, there are over 670,000 pieces of junk from between 1 centimeter and 10 centimeters going around Earth right now. Now, some of that will burn up in Earth's atmosphere. The stuff that doesn't is just going to circle Earth forever and ever, like Pauly D of the show Jersey Shore. Here's a drawing I did not do.
Okay, as you can see, that's our space junk field. All the little pieces of human debris that are floating around the Earth. There's Pauly D of the show Jersey Shore. Pretty alarming, huh?
Now, you might be wondering, Astronaut Tom, what's the big deal about space junk? Why do you care so much? Why don't you crawl back into your dumb little rocket ship and leave me alone? I'm a businessman. First of all, stop being so confrontational. Second, well, I've got friends up in outer space, and they're in the International Space Station right now. Some of these objects are orbiting Earth at 17,000 miles per hour. At that speed, even something like a little ball bearing could smash into the hull and compromise the safety of my friends. So yeah, it is a big deal, you jerk. If you want to make a lot of money someday, you should start thinking about how to solve this problem now, because there's going to be a real need for it. Okay, our next question comes from Markolo. Is that a name, Markolo? Our next question comes from John of Lincoln, Nebraska. Dear Astronaut Tom, what does blastoff feel like? Well, I can tell you. Imagine two dinosaurs crushing your body from the front and the back. And while you're inside, a long roar of thunder without earplugs. And your mom is yelling at you to finish brushing your teeth, but you can't because you're on a space station going up. My favorite part of liftoff is when we turn off the engines and we're in actual outer space, weightless. It's a pretty great feeling. I highly recommend it. Our next question comes from Elizabeth of Des Moines, Iowa. Dear Astronaut Tom, what do you do if you get scared or lonely in space? Honestly, I've never really experienced loneliness in space. First of all, you're jammed in with sometimes 5 or 6 other people in a little tiny room for months at a time. Solitude is sort of out of the question. You have no privacy. You're always literally up in each other's grills. Sometimes you miss your friends and family, but you could talk to them on Skype or, just yell really loud. Plus, the Earth isn't that far away. I mean, you can still see it at all times. As we get further into our space program and start going toward Mars and way out into the solar system, then yeah, loneliness in outer space might become a concern. We're not really at that point yet, so if you want to start researching that, maybe we can go into business together. I need money. Okay, our last question comes from Lana of Stockton, Iowa. Dear Astronaut Tom, what math will I need to know if I become a programmer? Basically all the stuff that you already know. It's kind of a myth that you have to know a bunch of math to become a programmer. I mean, maybe if you're making video games, you might need to know some basic physics. Or if you're doing 3D modeling, maybe like trigonometry. But just to be your run-of-the-mill programmer, it doesn't take as much math as you think. It takes a similar sort of logical thinking mindset, but you're not just going to be doing math problems all day. So don't worry about it. Well, I hope that helps. If you have a question for me, just email therealastronauttom@gmail.com and we'll try to get to you as soon as we can. Until then, be good, be smart, be cool, and set your aim on a future in technology. Thank you.
That's cool.
That's how you do it.